Hello, welcome back to the second part of BGP synchronization. In the first part, we have discussed about BGP synchronization theory and what is BGP synchronization. So let's continue on the second part with the configurations. Right. So we have this topology wherein we have router 1, 2, and 3 in autonomous system 100, wherein router 4 in autonomous system 200 and router 5 in autonomous system 300. So let's start the configurations. So just to give you an overview, we have IBGP here, sorry, EBGP here between 200 and 100. We have EBGP here between autonomous system 300 and 100, wherein we are running IBGP from router 1 to router 3. Okay, so let's start our configuration from router 1 to router 3. So to have the BGP neighborship up between router 1 and router 3, we need to have the routes learned, which means that router 1 should reach the router 3 and router 3 should reach the router 1. To, to get this routing working, what we are going to do is that we are going to run the OSPF routing protocol here between these three routers to learn the routes between each other. So just to let you know that I have configured loopback IP addresses. For example, router 1 has loopback IP address of 1.1.1.1, router 2 has 2.2.2.2, 3.3.3.3 for router 3, and so on. For router 4, we have 4.4.4 and router 5, 5.5.5. So what we are going to do is we are going to advertise this 200 network into router 1, and then this route will be learned from BGP. But what we are going to do is that we are not going to advertise this 200 network which is learned from BGP, right? So we are not going to redistribute this route into the OSPF to test our um, rule of synchronization rule, BGP synchronization rule. Okay, so when we don't advertise this route into the OSPF, this 200 network is not known onto the router 2, and the router 3 is not going to advertise this route, or when you do a trace from router 5 or router 3 to this IP address, it is never going to reach because router 2 will not be knowing this route. Okay, so let's start configuring this. Let me bring up my devices. Okay, okay, there we are. So okay, let me start with router 1. So router 1, we have got the interface is fast Ethernet 0/0 and fast Ethernet 0/1. For the simplicity of configuring, what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure using Notepad. Okay, let me do router 1 custom interface FH0/1 IP address 10.1.12.1. Oh, shit. So here the IP address is 14.1. No chat, right? Let's do the OSPF configuration as well. Router OSPF 1 network. Let me configure area 0. No autonomous system. No auto summary. Let's go to router 4. I'm going to come back to the BGP configurations at later part once we have uh, verification between router 1 and router 3. So router 4 interface f8 0/0 IP address .1.14.4. No shit. Okay, that's it. And what I'll do is I'll just configure loopback addresses. Loopback 4 IP address 4.4.4.4. Not required on the loopback 0, loopback 4. Router 1 is configured, router 4 is configured. Now let's jump on to router 2. Custom interface f8 0/1 IP address 10.1.12.2. Interface loopback 2 IP address 10. For loopback 2 I'm going to configure 2.2.2. And then interface f8 0/0 IP address is going to be 10.1.2 is connected to 3, so 13.2 255.255.255.0. No shut. Router OSPF 1 network 0000 area 0. No auto summary. Then I'm going to configure router 3. Router 3, what I'll do is conf t. I'll do this way. I'll just copy paste. Router 3 will have loopback 3, and we have got the 3.3.0.t3, and fast ethernet 0/0 will have this IP address, and then we have router OSPF. Let's copy this, and then what we will do is we'll configure interface FA 0/1, which is going to be right 35 10.1.35. I think I've messed up with IP addresses here. 35.3, so this was 12 instead of 13. This is going to be 23. This is going to be 23.2. 12 looks fine to me. It's fine. Okay, we can come back if we messed up with any IP address. Okay, so router 5 custom interface f8 0/0 IP address 10.1. What's the IP address? 35.5 255.0. No shut. And interface loopback 5 IP address 5.5.5.5, and then 255.255.255.255. No shut. Alright, so I'm going to copy paste this configuration and we'll verify from there. So let's go ahead and do the configuration between router 1, 2 and 3, and we'll perform the we'll verify the connectivity, right? So let me open the router 1. I hope you are able to see this screen. Okay, let me minimize this a little. Okay, so here we are, and I'm going to paste it. That's it. What I'm going to do is on the router 2 now, go here to the notepad. Okay, so we have router 4 first, so I'll do the router 4. I'll go in order so that we don't miss anything. Router 4 is done. Okay, as soon as we do this, let's do a quick ping verification. To ping 10.1.14.1, it should reach. Okay, that's good. let's go ahead and verify, do the configurations for router 2. Router 2, okay, so router 2 is up. Let's quickly verify show IP OSPF neighbor. That's it. You could see that the OSPF adjacency is formed and it's in full state. Show IP route OSPF. I should see a route. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now what we will do is we will configure. Okay, I think I'm missing something on the router 1 because I don't see a route. Okay, if you look at the router 2, I don't see a route here. 10 dot I mean 1.1.1.1. That is the loopback interface of router 1. So let me just go ahead and quickly configure this. IP address 1.1.1.1 255 255 255. All right, and we should see this route 111 in our router 2. Okay, there we are. So that's very good sign. Okay, so let's move on to the router 3 and let's configure router 3. Okay, and what I should see is neighbor should come up, OSPF neighbor should come up, and we should be able to see the route 1.1.1 from router 1. Show IP route. I still don't see. Okay, there it is. So we have this 1.1.1.1, that is router 1's loopback IP address. It has learned the network onto the router 3. So let's do a quick verification. So I'm able to ping the IP address 1.1.1. So let me just summarize what we did so far. Okay, so far we configured the IP addresses on the router 4, router 1, router 2, and router 3, as well as router 5. And we configured the IGP OSPF. We configured the IGP as OSPF between router 1 here, router 2 here, and router 3. Right, and we have the IP address 1.1.1 reachable. Let me. Okay, it's not working. That's fine. Okay, so we have the route 1.1.1.1, which is able to reach from router 3. So router 3 has got the loopback IP address of 3.3.3.3. The next step would be we will configure. Okay, so far we have configured router 1, router 2, and router 3. Now let's start configuring the eBGP first. So what we will do is we will configure the eBGP first between router 1 and router 4, and then we are going to advertise this network into BGP, right? Okay, let's do that. I'm on the router 1. Okay, so I'm on a router 3, router 1. So let me see my topology here. On a router 1, router of T, router BGP 100. Okay, neighbor. Let's do first BGP neighborship between router 1 and router 4. So router 4 IP address is 10.1.14.4. Remote autonomous system is, I believe it's okay, it's 200. Okay, and that's it. Let me jump onto the router router number 3, router number 4, router BGP 200, neighbor 10.1.14.1, remote autonomous system number is 100. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna advertise this network 200. So let me check if I have configured this 200 network here. So I have not done. So what I'll do is I'll configure loopback 200. I'll give the IP address 200.0.0.1 5255255.0 and router BGP 200, and I'm going to advertise this network. So network 200.0.0.0 mask 255.255.255.0. Okay, so I'm going to advertise this route. Show IP BGP summary, show IP BGP summary, and yes, you could see that the BGP is up now since 22 seconds, and the state I'm not receiving any prefix because router 1 is not advertising anything. So let's go back on router 1 and verify that we are learning this route 200. Show IP BGP summary. Okay, so far, yeah, you could see that one prefix is learned here. Show IP route, you could see, okay, you could see that 200.0.0.0 is learned here. Let me do a ping test, and it's working from router 1. Okay, so far we are good. Now let's configure the second part of this. So that's gonna be BGP neighbor between router 1 and router 3. Okay, so let me jump onto the router 1 now. Okay, custom router BGP 100 neighbor 3.3.3.3 remote autonomous system is what 100, right? I'm forming a neighborship with router 3's loopback IP address. Okay, so as I'm advertising it with loopback IP address, I'll do update source loopback 3. Sorry, loopback 1. Okay, now I'll go jump onto router 3. Router BGP 100 neighbor 1.1.1.1 remote autonomous system is 100 and neighbor 1.1.1.1 and update source is loopback 3. Back 3. Let me just quickly verify if I've configured this correctly. Now let's do show IP BGP summary. It is still in active state. Okay, that's it. So we have learned the BGP has come up here. You could see that one prefix is received. Do show IP BGP, do show IP route. Let's just quickly check the routing table here. Okay, so this route is learned here 200.0.0.0. You could see that this route is learned and it's in the BGP table. However, if I do a ping 200.0.0.1, it's not gonna work because this 200.0.0.1 network is not learned from router 2 because router 2 is not learning this, which means that now this 200.0.0 I have configured. so that's fine. Instead of 1.1 I've configured it as 0.0. So 200.0.0.0 is learnt on this router, and this router has sent this route over the BGP to this router, but when I do a ping it is not going to send it here. Now the rule of synchronization says that even if I have learned this route 200.0.0.0 on router 3, I'm not going to send it to router 5. Let's check that. Okay, so let me configure this router now. I'm on router 3. Okay, so now I will configure router 3. I'll bring up the BGP between router 3 and router 5. So router BGP 100, neighbor 10.1.35.5, remote autonomous system is 300, right? Okay, and let me jump onto router 5. Router 5 is here. Conf router BGP 300, neighbor is what, 10.1.35.4, isn't it? 3, and remote autonomous system is 100. So IP BGP summary. BGP could not pick a router ID. Please configure manually. Okay, let's see. So running begin router BGP. Show IP interface brief. Okay, the IP address is not configured. Interface FA 0/0. So IP address, I have not pasted it here. Okay, so let me just do these configurations. Okay, so there it is. So the BGP is up. Show IP BGP summary. BGP summary. You could see that show IP route, and you see that this route is advertised here. However, you won't be able to reach this network. Okay, so this is the rule of synchronization, BGP rule of synchronization. Let's see what is the, if you see this, the rule of synchronization is disabled basically on the router 4, not on the router 4, router 1, 2 and 3 we should have synchronization. Router 1, router BGP 200 or 100. Have I messed up the configurations? No, we are not running any BGP here on router 2. We are running BGP only on the, so let's clear all the BGP neighbors. So IP BGP summary. Okay, so I have learned one prefix from neighbor now. BGP. If you look at this 200.0.0.0, it's not the best route. Show IP BGP. Show IP BGP 200.0.0.0. See, BGP routing table entry for this. Path available is 1. This is not the best path. It has learned from 1.1.1, that is your router number 1, and you could see that the state is not synchronized. Okay, so this is the rule of synchronization. All right, because this route should learn from any IGP. This route is not gonna advertised onto the router 5. Okay, so if I check IP BGP now, I don't have any route. Show IP route. Okay, so now what had happened that when we tested it initially, the BGP synchronization was disabled. Okay, so let me explain it here. So when we tested it before, the BGP rule of synchronization was disabled here, no synchronization, and here also it was no synchronization. Okay, so BGP rule of synchronization tells that when you have synchronization turned on, okay, so this route is learned here. It has sent to this router 3, but router 3 is not going to send this route to router 5. This is what we had discussed in our previous video, and that is what happening. But when you disable the BGP synchronization, okay, this route is getting propagated to router 3, and router 3 is going to propagate that route back to router 5. However, you will not be able to ping to this IP address. Okay, so this concludes our video, and if you want to trace from router 5, you could do that. If you want to trace from router 3, it is going to drop the packet at router 2. So just to let you know, when are we going to turn off the BGP synchronization? Okay, so when you are running BGP on all the routers, then you could turn off the synchronization. Okay, so let's do one thing now. Let's fix this broken connectivity. Let me advertise this particular route into the OSPF, okay, so that we should be able to reach all the routing. Router 1, let me go to the router 1. Okay, I have show IP route. Let's understand how this has learned. Okay, this has learned from BGP, and I'm going to redistribute this BGP learned routes into OSPF. So to do this, I need to go to OSPF, redistribute BGP, redistribute BGP 100 subnets. Show IP route OSPF. In the OSPF, I should see the external route. Show IP OSPF database. Okay, so if you see the IP OSPF database, you could see that type 5, that is external route, is learned on the OSPF database. So we should see this 200 network learned in the OSPF now. Router 2, show IP route. We should see this 200 network learned here. Okay, you could see that this is external route, and this route is now getting propagated to the router 3. Let's do the same thing again. This is still not synchronized, and this is still not the best path. So what we need to do here, we need to clear the BGP ones. Clear BGP all. clear BGP 100. You could see that even though we have advertised this route into the OSPF, the synchronization is still turned on. So to fix this problem, we need to turn off the synchronization. Okay. If you look at the router file, you still don't have the route. Okay. If you look at the router 3, show IP route, you could see that this route is learned from OSPF /24 200.0.0.0, and it has also learned from this. So what we would do is router BGP 100, no synchronization. Okay, as soon as you disable this, you could see that the synchronization kind of error has gone now. If you take a look little upper side, it was showing it is not synchronized. Now the route is synchronized. Okay, you could see that the route is synchronized. Now let's do one thing. Let's try to reach 200.0.0.1. It is still not reachable because the synchronization is still turned on the router 1. Now this is the best route which gets advertised to the router 3. It is still not the best route. Okay, so there's still a routing problem here. Okay, the route is learned up to router 1 and it's dropping from router 1 because router 1 does not know about router 3. Let me explain here. If you do a ping from 200.0.0.1 and if you search from 3.3, no, it is not because show IP route. Okay, show IP BGP. Do I have the route of router 2, router 3? No. Okay, now the problem is that this 200.0.0.0 is coming from router 4. Okay, and it does not have any routes, so the reverse route is not being learned. That's the reason it is dropping the packet, because what we are doing is now we are trying to ping from router 3 to this IP address. Okay, so uh, the packet is coming up to router 1, but once it is coming to router 1 it is not going here because um, I mean the ICMP echo packet is going to router 4, but there is no return traffic coming here because router 4 doesn't know 3.3.3, neither it knows any of these IP addresses. To fix this problem, what we need to do is we need to redistribute the BGP into the we need to redistribute the OSPF into the BGP. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm on a router 4. Just a quick look. See, there are no routes. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the router 1, and here is my BGP configuration. Custom router BGP 100. Redistribute OSPF 1. let's go ahead and verify what have we learned here. Okay, so now we have all the routes coming here. Let's give a try to ping. Okay, so the ping is successful, right? You could see that 200 network is here, and if you 200.0.0.1, you could reach it. That's it. Okay, so this concludes our BGP rule of synchronization and the configurations regarding the BGP synchronization. All right, thanks a lot for watching this video. If you like this video, you can subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you very much and have a good day. Bye.